Okay, perfect. Welcome to the Hollywood Persona. Welcome back. I'm Mitch Burns. I'm here with Mr. Steve Rice again. He has decided to come back for a second episode. I don't understand why. I am horrible to work with. Steve, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, and you are not horrible to work with.
Oh, I'm your boss, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes.
So, and
You
I'm
can't
just a
say that
horrible.
yet.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. Okay, so we've got some cool, exciting movies to talk about. We're talking about some older movies, like not older. I was just telling Steve that we were going to talk about an old movie, and he got excited, and then I said it was from 2008, and he said, "Oh, I thought you were going to say actually something from the 80s or 90s or something," and I was like, "2008? That's so old, right?"
That was a long time ago.
It does feel like a
Sure.
long. It feels like a long time ago for me.
I was under 50 at that point, so it's cool.
I was 18. Um, I'm sorry. Okay, we both have a beer. Last time at the end of the episode, I remember Steve saying, "Oh, we can drink on this thing," and I'm like, I should have said that at the beginning. And I'm doing better with my ums, so I'm excited. Let's get into this.
Let's do it.
We're gonna talk about Bullet Train to start off. It's a newer movie we have both seen from 2022, starring Mr. Brad Pitt. Also, Joey King's in this. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry from Eternals, Andrew Koji, Hiroyuki Sanada, Michael Shannon, and I don't know if she's supposed to be a cameo or not.
There's a lot of cameos in this. There's one
Yeah.
cameo in there where you're like, "Oh, look who it is," and they don't say a word.
Who? Oh, who? Okay, say it.
Ryan Reynolds goes up
Okay.
in the middle, and they were
Oh,
talking about
yes.
somebody, but he never says a word. He never looks at
Yeah.
the camera, and he never says a word. But it's obviously him.
So the cool thing, and I'll get into the description of the movie in a second, but the cool thing about this movie is I heard, okay, Brad Pitt did a part in The Lost City, which was a comedy starring Sandra Bullock and Daniel Radcliffe and Channing Tatum that came out a few months ago, and then in return, Sandra Bullock was going to be in this. So I think it's pretty common knowledge that she's in it, and I think she's kind of supposed to be a cameo because the whole time you don't see her face, and she's doing the whole like Mr. Evil thing. You just see like her head.
Yeah, I thought we saw her in the trailer though.
Yeah, probably.
I
I
think
haven't
I think we saw the trailer and we're like, oh,
see
it's
you
Sandra
watch
Bullock.
more trailers than me.
Well, that was I was in the theater and I forget what movie I was seeing, which completely brought this to a halt. Sorry.
No, that's
I was in the
okay.
theater. I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, I saw Bullet Train in the theater. So you saw it very recently, so I'm excited to talk about it with you because it's been a couple months since I've seen it, I guess. And so I'm going to talk about what it's about. So the IMDb description says five assassins aboard a swiftly moving bullet train find out that their missions have something in common. But it's set in China or Japan, I think.
Yeah, it's Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really shocking because now that I think about it, it's a very white cast.
Yes.
but but
Yeah.
there's two or three Japanese and or Chinese people in it, and it's on Netflix now, so it's readily available for everybody to watch. I'm gonna
There's
let
also an
Steve.
African American gentleman.
There's
Don't
also
forget him.
what?
The African American gentleman
Yes,
with the English accent.
yes, Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, I like that guy. He's funny.
He is really funny. Eternals, and he was just in a movie with Jennifer Lawrence that I watched called Causeway on Netflix, I think, or Prime, and it was all right. I don't, but he was good. I like him a lot. So, okay, Mr. Steve, you can start this off. What did you think? What were your thoughts?
I thought this was a fun movie. I thought
Hmm.
it was. I mean, it's pretty what's the word I'm looking for? When I say this was a fun ride, but it was actually on a train, so it was, you know,
So
obviously
it's
it was
yeah,
a ride. Um,
exactly.
Limited environment, which
Mhm.
is one of my favorites. I enjoyed that. It
Probably like a COVID movie, right? Like
Yeah,
because you got a big cast, and I think I remember them saying that they filmed it like David Leitch, the director. He directed like John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2. I remember him saying that there was a lot of people who wanted to work during COVID, but like couldn't because of the restrictions. So I think he got so many actors to come together for it.
yeah. I thought this was a lot bloodier than I had anticipated.
Really?
I know that there were a lot of fight scenes that I saw in the trailer, and I know that there were a lot of people looking for a briefcase.
Briefcase, the
And
MacGuffin.
but yeah, this turned out to be a lot bloodier. And I mean, not that I minded that. It's just not something that I was expecting.
Excuse me. Yeah, there's a character that shows up in the middle, maybe a little closer to the end. And I don't want to give it away because I'm about to give a spoiler, but they are very in it very briefly. They're kind of a bigger name right now, and they die very suddenly. So when this person showed up, um, they I was like, oh crap, this is not going to be good because they're a huge name right now.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the cameo. I'm talking about hmm, there's poison involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
for it.
So yeah. Okay. And they showed up, and I thought that was going to be a huge turning point, and then this person just dies, and I was like, oh, okay, not what I was expecting. It definitely doesn't hold back its punches. Uh,
This person's actually in it throughout the whole movie. They're just not alive. Or you
yes.
think about the other one. There's
Yes.
yeah, there's a couple.
It's very interesting how it's done, and people you think are who they are aren't who they are, and people who I um I am not a huge Joey King fan. Um, she's the girl who played the she's the youngest probably actor in the movie.
Yeah.
She has a Netflix show, and a lot of people like her. She's been in Netflix movies, and she's been acting since she was really young. I haven't seen her in something where I said, "Oh my God, she's amazing." And this was probably my favorite of her roles, but still irritated me a little.
Hmm.
But I love Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is probably one of my favorite working actors. So
Yeah. Did he eat in this one? I don't think I saw it because
I don't.
I know Anderson says that a lot. Like there isn't a movie that he doesn't eat in, and
Um,
ever since I heard him say that, I'm
Aware of it.
very aware. Like, oh, he's eating.
I didn't notice.
I don't think he ate in this one. No, no, maybe the opening scene. He was on the phone. I think he might have.
Yeah,
Might have.
I'm definitely gonna rewatch it because so I found that people are talking about it, and it's been a lot of negative talk, and I think I loved it. I think it's one of the best action movies of the year for sure.
Yeah,
And
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, there's a couple scenes where you say to yourself, "Oh, come on!" Like
mm,
that's not logical.
the
But
ending, yeah, like
yeah, you gotta. But just bring yourself, sit back and enjoy the movie.
have fun with it.
I have to tell
At
myself that sometimes.
Yeah, at the end, there should have been a lot more dead people than there were.
Correct.
Yeah, because I won't give it away, but like a lot of things happen, and I was not expecting a lot more people should have died. Is what I'm saying. So it was definitely surprising, but
I thought the pacing was very good in
yes,
this. You're almost immediately onto the train
yeah,
for maybe the first 5 minutes, and
and I think that's
maybe
what
the last 5 minutes you're not on the train. But
yeah.
the pacing of it, like there was no downtime at all.
and very tense.
Yes.
So essentially, like I'll just say quickly, Brad Pitt, he boards his train. He, oh my gosh, he there's a briefcase, and he's got to get the briefcase and bring it to his boss. But it ends up being a lot more the higher stakes than he realized, and by the end, gosh, there's a lot of backstory that comes out as the movie unfolds. So it's really interesting. So I'm glad you liked it too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The comedy
Mm-hmm.
portion of it, there are a lot of one-liners
Yep.
and there are a lot of laughs to go
Yes.
along with the action. There's one scene where, and this isn't a spoiler, this was in the trailer, where Brad Pitt is fighting with the other guy, and there's things flying all over the place, and then the door opens on one of the cars in the train, and the drink girl comes in with the cart, and they both have to nonchalantly pretend that they weren't just fighting and trying to kill each other, and they're just like, casually like hello, and Brad Pitt orders a drink and doesn't have any money, and he makes the other guy pay for it. it's
and
it's pretty funny.
and I was like, thought I was gonna be annoyed by that scene because I'd seen it so many times in the trailers at the theater, and it still worked. I think a lot of people kind of saw this movie and it went in one eye and out the other, and it hasn't been talked about enough because I think it's really great, and I think David Leitch continues to put out great work.
Hmm.
Have you seen Atomic Blonde with
I have
Charlize
not.
Theron?
It is on my list.
Oh, it's good. I think it's on Netflix. So you should it's I love that. I love it. Um
Yeah,
it's a
I've heard a lot
little
of good things about it. I didn't hear a whole lot when it was in the theater,
yeah.
but more and more as time goes on, I hear more and more people talking about it.
It's a little like
Oddly.
rougher around the edges than Bullet Train. Like Bullet Train is so glossy and fun and stuff, and Atomic Blonde's a little more grittier. So
Hmm.
um
Does it take itself a little bit more serious?
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So you don't get as much of the fun, but like Charlize Theron is great. So okay, so we're gonna transition. If you remember last episode, we were discussing. Actually, I got Steve to do. Steve picked the number, and he picked 444. I think you picked right because
Yes, that is correct.
yeah, each week we pick a number out of my 700 and some on watch list, and I watch it. Steve doesn't have to watch it, but he is kind of joining the ride with me this week as we watch.
Well, I'm
We
not going to like
wa-
leave you hanging.
well, thank you, Steve. We watched Apt Pupil, and hold on one second. I just need to.
1998, I believe. Apt Pupil
Yes,
with a very young Brad Renfro.
who like? Okay, so did you know who Brad Renfro was before this movie?
No, I had no idea.
Okay,
I've heard the
okay,
name, but I wouldn't be able
yeah.
to pick.
No, me neither. Okay, so Apt Pupil starring Ian McKellen and Brad Renfro. Joshua Jackson's in there, who you would probably recognize from the 90s. He was huge. Ann Dowd plays the mother. She is a bigger actress now. Bruce Davison is in there. And then David Schwimmer is kind of in there randomly, and he's got a really bad mustache that was very distracting.
Yeah, this is second week in a row that David Schwimmer has come up. I made a reference to Ross Geller,
Yeah,
paleontologist on your monster
right.
movie from last week. So
Like,
I'm
are we
gonna
gonna
try
make
to
that a theme?
yeah I'm gonna try to crowbar him in next week.
um,
What was that? What was that terrible movie he did? The Paul Bearer or something?
oh, the comedy. It was
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
I think it was the Paul Bearer. It was like his first acting role after Friends.
yep.
Yeah.
And he's kind of cropped up recently in movies, like smaller roles and stuff, but his movie career never really took off. But the man's probably rolling in money. They all are because of Friends, right?
Yeah,
So I'm sure he's fine if he never worked again. Um, but anyway, so apt pupil is it's really hard to describe. So a boy played by Brad Renfro, he has a neighbor who it's established very early on that he has a background in as a Nazi, and it's weird because obviously the poster and the trailer tell you right away. And this boy, the character's name was
Todd.
Todd.
Yep,
I'm
he's
so
Todd.
bad with remembering
That's okay.
character names.
Hey, if I didn't write it down, I wouldn't remember it either.
Okay. And he has an obsession. He learns about the Holocaust in school, and then he has an obsession with it. And he learns that his neighbor has something to do with the Holocaust and Nazis. And he slowly starts to learn from him. And then there's blackmail involved. And because Ian McKellen, Kurt Dusander, I'm sure he's German, and he's hiding out because if people knew of his background, he could possibly get in trouble. And I found that very interesting because, I mean, so he would have been. Wait, when was this
I
set?
I took it as he escaped Nazi Germany.
Right.
He defected here, and
Yeah.
if Todd or Brad Renfro, if Todd blows his cover, he could go back and face war crimes and go to jail for the rest of his life, which
Yeah. Oh, and
isn't going to
that's
be much longer. I mean, he's an older gentleman.
yeah. And luckily, Ian McKellen's still with us. But like, gosh, the man looked old in 1998. So, um, like, obviously, Ian McKellen went on to play Mr. Gandalf. So, and unfortunately, his co-star Brad Renfro has passed on. He died in 2008 or 2007 or something of a heroin overdose, and I didn't realize. I've seen him in a couple things like The Client and another movie from when I was a kid, but so I didn't know he had died. But he was a pretty good actor. Like he was good.
Yeah, and in this role, he's and this may be a little dark, but he's
Hmm.
exactly his appearance in this movie when he's in school. He is exactly what you would picture every school shooter to look like and act like before he shoots
He's
up the school.
he's a disturbed kid, like
Yes.
100%, and he plays it really well. And the first thing I've ever seen him in was The Client with Susan Sarandon and Tommy Lee Jones, and he was just a little kid, and the movie isn't exactly. He is the central focus of the movie, but he's not. Wasn't acting his balls off. So seeing him here, I was like, "Oh, this kid's good. Where had he gone? Like where's he gone to?" And he is no longer with us. But um, gosh, we've so last week we talked about Kirstie Alley's death. This week we're talking about Brad Renfro dying. We're upbeat.
If David Schwimmer dies,
Oh no, 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 no.
we can kill
Oh,
two birds with one stone. I'm sorry.
okay, no, no, no.
I'm not
So
wishing that on anyone.
I often think about who is going to be the first friend to die. Not often, but it'll be kind of a sad day.
Yeah, and we'll start marking them off one by
Exactly
one.
like they
You
did
know,
with the Golden Girls. Like they were always like,
yeah,
okay, okay, who's left? Like Rue McClanahan, and then
or, or even the cast of Poltergeist at this point. You know,
oh yeah, because the
that
little girl died not long
little girl
after,
died, the sister died.
and then
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
because the dad's still with us.
yeah, Craig T. Nelson.
Thank you. Yes.
Lord.
So anyways, so what were your thoughts on the movie? Like how
Well, first of all, I was not aware that Bryan Singer was the director.
me
Uh,
neither
you know,
until his name showed up.
yeah, when you look at his list of credits that he's done, Superman Returns,
Hmm.
very underrated, by the way.
Still haven't seen
Usual
it.
Suspects, X-Men, Bohemian Rhapsody, it, and then there's this,
Yeah.
which is a complete reversal from what we're used to.
Hmm.
Uh, the older gentleman, he has all of his Nazi atrocities buried. He figures he's in the clear and it's not something he's going to worry about. But Todd is obsessed with making him relive it, and is
Yeah.
buying Nazi uniforms from costume shops
Yeah.
and making him redo the not the dances, that's a poor choice of words, the
Marches.
yeah, the stepping and the salutes, and
Yeah.
uh there's and I think that's what sets the Nazi general. I believe his name was Kurt.
Hmm.
I think that particular scene, and it happens pretty early on, where Todd makes him
Hmm.
wear the uniform and do the steps.
Yeah.
It sets him down his dark path. There's a scene with a cat, which is horrific.
Yeah.
Um, Followed right up by the a scene with a bird
Yep.
that Todd is doing. The old man tries to stick a cat in an oven,
Hmm.
and Todd kills a bird with a basketball. For
Yeah.
God's sake, it's
Which I I found the bird scene harder to watch than I did the cat scene.
mm,
Almost at first, like, um yeah, so the bird scene really disturbed me, and I think it might have been because the character of Todd disturbed me more than even than the Nazi. I think there's more to be scared about with a young kid who might grow up to be a Nazi than an old man who is a Nazi and might die soon, right? Like,
yeah,
so
you're
I
right.
think, yeah, I think that was a little more disturbing. So,
Yeah, that one that I when he held the cat and had the oven open.
yeah,
It's
it was,
terrible. And you think, nah, he's not gonna do that. I mean, he's this kindly old man that we're just learning about. And sure as shit, he did. He tried to stick the cat in the oven.
yeah. And
Oh,
you get the sense that this man, Kurt, is trying to forget his past in a way, and he
yeah.
retells these stories to Todd. I couldn't understand if he was ashamed of his past or if he was still, you know, a Jewish hating person.
Yeah. I think at the beginning he was embarrassed. He was, didn't want to bring it back up.
Yeah.
But I think Todd woke up a sleeping monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the middle, in the end, he was, here, come here, let me tell you another story.
Yeah, that's true. So overall, I didn't love the movie.
Yeah,
I
it's tough to love this one.
yeah, it's and the relationship between Todd and Kurt, the whole movie hangs in the balance upon this relationship, and it just didn't work for me
Yeah.
until the last act. And I posted a letterbox review where I really get into it, and I saw you gave it 3.5 stars. I gave it 3 stars. So because I think the last act is really, really good and tense and suspenseful, and you don't know what's going to happen. And the relationship between Todd and Kurt is you're starting to understand it a little bit. They're starting to become a little bit more connected, or um, their
I,
lives are connecting
yeah.
a
Yeah.
little
I,
bit
I,
more.
I think that Todd had control at the very
Hmm.
beginning. And halfway through, uh, he was wrong. He was not in control anymore.
Yeah.
And Kurt was in control.
Yeah.
But by the end of the movie,
Yeah.
the one of the final scenes with David Schwimmer showing up,
Yeah.
uh,
That was
Todd,
creepy.
yeah, Todd got the control back. So it was a struggle for control, but it was I thought
Yeah.
that part was well done.
I would you be cool to jump into spoilers now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to jump into spoilers and I'm going to start right off with that last scene. And I think the spoilers are going to kind of show you how much I disliked the earlier parts of the movie because that okay, so the whole thing finally hinges. Kurt thinks he gets the upper hand, and he kind of does with the whole. He has the security deposit. He says he has the security deposit box, which I can't say apparently, and it has everything that him and Todd. It has that Todd knew he was a Nazi and hid it and blah blah blah. So it would have incriminated him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it just the stakes like it never felt like it always felt like Todd could have walked away at any time. I never felt like he was even with the security deposit box. Todd could have been like he's like a young kid, right?
Yeah,
He could have
he's
he's
high school.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
just graduating high school and he could have just been like, "Well, I didn't know, like, like I didn't know blah blah blah," right? He could have I think he could have gotten away and he could have walked away from it at any point in my eyes. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
No, I think he liked the chaos.
Yeah, like he's
He
yeah,
he dug deep
yeah,
enough to get this guy to resurface.
yeah.
And even though he lost control, he still
He
loved
was
being.
still in it was still thrilling to him.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
I agree with you. I usually don't. I think you're usually wrong, but that's fine. I'll fucking give it to you then. Whatever. Right again, you fucking bastard. No,
Sorry.
no, I'm just kidding. Um,
Next week I'll be replaced by David Schwimmer.
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Ross Geller from Friends here. So, and then the final scene gets really tense, and I really loved how the FBI officer that like shows up to or the police or whoever he was, he had the little what do you call that? The Star of David
Yeah. The
on
Jersey
his.
Star. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. And then the ending I liked because it actually finally started to show a relationship between Todd and Kurt, like
Mhm.
that Todd might actually kind of care about Kurt, you know, and
Yeah.
vice versa, which really interesting. But and then so the scene, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but the scene with Todd and David Schwimmer at the very end, I feel like again, Todd could have gotten out of that without doing what he did.
Well, David Schwimmer was kind of threatening him as well with, you know,
hmm
I know, I'm going to expose you. So, and then
Yes, but
he went for
excuse
the kill
me.
right away.
Yeah, and but like he was trying to do the right thing,
Hmm.
like right because he knows about now this Nazi thing, or he thinks he knows something, and he put two and two together. And I think there was just a way where he could have said like, "Oh, Kurt was he pretended to be my grandpa because he was a friend. I didn't know about the Nazi thing, blah blah blah." I think he could have still gone. It was weird, but maybe if I look at it under the light of Todd being a little
Being
messed,
Todd.
yeah, maybe Todd was a little too messed up to really.
Yeah, because his character didn't waver from beginning to end.
You're right.
He
Yeah,
was still a dick.
yeah. I could just I said in my review that I could see somebody getting halfway through this and turning it off.
Yeah, I
And
can picture that. Yeah.
and saying, "Yeah, no, I'm not into this. That was a shit movie." And then if you're gonna watch it, if you are gonna watch it, you gotta watch it till the end because that last act I found was great with
Hmm.
the guy and he kills the guy and then Todd is involved and but why didn't Kurt just finish the guy off? Why did he have to put Todd in the basement?
Uh,
He wanted him to
to
do it?
establish that control, maybe.
Yeah.
Like you're just this little boy, and the things I've done.
And he wanted
You know,
maybe he wanted to put that evil inside of Todd,
yeah,
even more.
yeah. Did the homeless guy look familiar to you?
Yeah.
And
And
I looked him up, like I guess he had a name, but
I
I don't
don't
remember them saying his name, and I'm like, man, that guy looks familiar, and I kept looking it up, but I couldn't find it.
hmm.
I mean, he's a character actor. He's not, anyone like a leading role, but
Was his name Archie? Maybe?
it could have been.
I don't know. But yeah, he looked really familiar to me too, and that's actually funny that you say that. Maybe somebody who knows what we're talking about can jump in because it's either this Elias Koteas guy or someone else. But anyways, I didn't
No, I
love
think
it.
Elias was the guy with the Jewish star on his or
Yes.
one of the guys that was
Yes.
visiting Kurt in the hospital.
So then it might have been Michael Reed McKay, Nightmare Victim. Oh, no, that was the guy in the bed beside him. Never mind.
Yeah.
Who, yeah, that was a pretty, that scene got me
Mm-hmm.
at the end where he kind of just walks out and not like,
His eyes real big. Yeah.
and he sees that nurse and he just breaks down. And
Yeah. He just
that,
cries.
yeah, I got chills actually. Like that kind of, that kind of really got me. So,
Yeah.
okay. So we're going to move on now to Burn After Reading because I saw this when it came out in 2008. Actually, that's interesting because I'm going to talk about another 2008 movie after this. So I haven't seen it since 2008. So
Hmm.
you're going to have to kind of fill in those empty holes in my head.
Okay. Well, there. The reason that saw this one,
Yeah.
we had some work done at our house, and to vacate the premises.
Oh,
So I took the dog to daycare for the day,
nice.
and I needed somewhere with Wi-Fi. So, uh, being in Canada, do you know what Chick-fil-A is?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, you have
Um,
Chick-fil-A's up there?
I don't think so. I
Okay,
think we have like a few in like really big cities, but it's not really a thing here.
okay. Well, I went to Chick-fil-A because chicken's my thing,
Yes,
and
I love chicken.
and I sat down, and work was very slow. So I put my headphones on. And I'm going to be out of the house for 3-4 hours, so I'll watch a movie.
So now, if work hears this, are you going to get in trouble?
No, no, work's not going to hear this. Work knows nothing of my extracurricular
No,
activities.
I send this right to I send this right to your place of work.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
our main audience is your coworkers, actually.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well,
No, I'm kidding.
I don't like any of you if any of my work coworkers are listening. So,
Oh no.
so I'm sitting at a Chick-fil-A, and I go on to HBO Max, which is my go-to, and I see Burn After Reading, and I thought, I've never seen this.
Hmm.
Let's see what this is all about.
And you like the Coen brothers?
I do. I do. Yeah,
And
it's tough not to.
was this before or after you watched Bullet Train?
This was before Bullet Train. This was the first. Yeah, this was the first movie I watched this week.
So you were just in Brad Pitt mode.
By accident, yes. Yeah, I had not sought out Brad Pitt this week, but
But you did.
he has come across, and I did watch about 20 minutes of Ocean's 11, which I love as well. That was on over the weekend,
Perfect.
but I thought this cast was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney, you got lady from Fargo,
Francis
uh, Frances
McDormand.
McDermott. Yes, yes, McDermott. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brad Pitt as, of course, as a very young Brad Pitt as well.
He looks very young,
Yeah,
and
and
maybe
goofy. He's not.
maybe one of his best roles because he looks like he's just having a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah, he's not. He's not cool, Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of dorky, Brad Pitt.
Oh, I gotta rewatch this movie.
Richard Jenkins, as well from Step Brothers,
Love him.
was the boss at the gym,
Yeah.
and I mean the different stories going on all at the same time, but you can see that they're all coming
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
and Clooney's in it.
yes,
Did
George
you
Clooney.
say? Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
say Clooney? And you
yeah.
and I guess you must like him because of the Ocean's movies.
Oh yes, I do. And and I was like, oh, they're both in it again,
Yeah.
you know. But uh, Clooney was kind of dorky in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Kept making reference to the fact that I've been carrying a gun for 20 years and never shot anybody. And makes reference to it three times, and then you think, all right, well, he's gonna shoot somebody. So I enjoyed it a lot. Um, it was it was just very like coming together. Like this is great, and then I'd say the last 15-20 minutes, uh, there's plot holes
Yeah.
in my opinion. Um, what year was this? Was this
2008.
2008? Okay,
Yeah.
so is it okay to do spoilers at this point? Maybe
Yes.
we'll wait until you've seen it because
No, I've seen it before.
okay,
So you're basically just refreshing my memory at this
okay,
point. So we're gonna jump into spoilers, skip ahead like 45 seconds or whatever.
yeah. So George Clooney does end up firing his gun,
Mm-hmm.
shoots Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
There's
like
a lot of blackmail going on
yeah.
in this movie, of course, and it does end up shooting him.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt had every opportunity to get out of the house that he broke into,
Yeah.
and he
And
didn't.
he's in the closet.
He's in the closet,
Yeah.
and that's where George Clooney finds him, and George Clooney shoots him. And my biggest problem with this, I had two major problems.
Okay.
Number one, we find out later that George Clooney disposed of the body, but
Okay.
in shooting Brad Pitt, there was blood all over the clothes. They never mentioned like the who was I should have this up.
Was it Frances McDormand's house or Tilda Swinton's?
No, Tilda Swinton's house. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Tilda Swinton's house. She has no knowledge that there was a murder here. There was no knowledge of any wrongdoings going on.
So do you think it so either the bullet was lodged in Brad Pitt or there's an unexplainable hole in Tilda Swinton's house.
That is yeah, because you never see Brad Pitt's face. But
Yeah.
what you do see is a lot of blood all
Yeah.
over Tilda Swinton's clothes.
Yeah.
The clothes were never mentioned before, and I can't imagine. I mean, you're not going to get blood off of multiple dresses or multiple coats.
No, you're gonna throw them out too, I guess.
Yeah, and she's not going to ask like, why is half my closet missing? That kind of thing. You're not going to clean up, even if you do throw out the clothes. There's still going to be blood all over the place. And that leads to the second thing that I had an issue with.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those movies, and you see it from time to time. They explain the ending to you. The final scene is the FBI agents explaining what happened. When I really wish that we could have seen. He says that George Clooney's character dumped the body, and then we had to fish it out, but we never see
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. Just show it in like a quick
Yes,
montage or whatever you've got to do at the
yeah,
end. Yeah.
yeah, and but that would be my only those are my only two criticisms. But
And
other than that, I enjoyed it. I'm
were you
sorry that I waited so
laughing?
long. Hmm?
Yeah. Were you laughing? Like, did you find it comedic, like at
Oh
parts?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Because
Yeah.
and George Clooney and Brad Pitt are not playing George Clooney and Brad Pitt. They're goofy caricatures of character, whatever I'm trying to say. They're different. They're
Caricature.
goofy versions of themselves because I
Yeah.
can't say caricatures.
But
It's like I
I
can't say the word inaugural.
inaugural
Yeah,
address,
yeah,
inaugural.
yeah. That kind of yeah. I always
Okay. Oh,
I can't not say it's inaugural to me.
I have a friend, and he's going to be listening to this right now, my friend, and he is making fun of me because on one of the episodes I did um, BS before Steve. I was trying to say John Leguiziamo's name.
Like Wazamo.
Fuck you.
That was last week, but it was
Was
my
that
first
last week?
episode. Yeah, and I didn't want to jump in, but I knew who you were talking about. But
Oh my god.
yeah, like
So
Wazamo.
annoying. Leguizamo. And now I'm kind of pissed off at you
Oh well, I was a rookie.
because you can just say it with no effort. And so and I never met my friend Rich. Like we've never met in real person in oh my gosh, our words tonight are just becoming horrible in real person. We've never met face to face. And so I had to send him a voice clip of how I thought it was said, and then he sent it right back to me, and the disdain in his voice. Um trying to so say it again, Leguizamo?
Leguizamo,
Leguizamo.
John
Okay.
Leguizamo.
Okay, so I'm adding way too many syllables. Okay, I got you. Okay. Well, how did I get on that diatribe?
I I'm not sure, uh, but if we go down certain
Yeah,
rabbit holes, that's
who
fine.
cares?
It's all good. It's your show.
People don't have to listen.
Sure.
They can
I
jump
wish they
off.
would, but if they made it this far, they'll probably stick around to the end.
Yes. So, anyways, Rich is gonna hear his name now,
Now,
and
now here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get Rich going. That's not how you say it. It's not like Wazamo.
well,
You gotta tell me that I'm wrong.
yeah, exactly. He'll probably say you're wrong too.
All right. Well, then next week we'll have him on the show, and he can.
I'll get him to send in a voice clip.
We'll do pronunciation with Rich. We can do a whole
Oh,
segment.
that asshole is getting way too much time on this program. So, speaking of Rich, this is what we call a transition. We have a horror Instagram group. There's uh, 5 of us,
Okay.
and no, there's 6 of us that do it. And each week we recommend a horror movie that one of us has seen or hasn't seen, and then we all watch it as a group, and then every Wednesday we discuss the movie. And each week it's someone's turn to pick, and this week it was my friend Brandon's turn to pick, and he picked 2008's The Children, it's called.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
So it's kind of a Christmas movie, and I was like really excited because it takes place with this family. They show up at this house, and there's 2 couples, and they each have like a lot of kids. There's like 5 kids, and then like an older kid. She's probably like 18 or 19, and so they show up at this house, and one of the kids is sick, and he starts kind of coughing and whatever. Well, it kind of turns into a zombie movie almost, but like it just affects the kids.
It's interesting.
So the kids
When you
essentially
say this is a
start.
when you say this is a Christmas movie, do you mean like this is a Christmas movie like Four Christmases or Home Alone, or this is a Christmas movie like Die Hard?
It's a Christmas movie like Die Hard. It takes place
So
at
it's not a
Christmas
Christmas
time.
movie, is what you're saying.
No.
Okay, good.
It's a non Christmas movie,
I
and
got you.
And so these kids slowly, like, accidents start happening, and the parents don't know how these accidents are happening, and people start dying. And my friend Brandon, right now, like tomorrow, he is going to be so excited to hear that I absolutely loved this movie. It has a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb. So not everyone likes this movie. It is very violent. It is very gory and very hard to watch with if you have kids.
Where does it
And
take place?
it's in Britain somewhere. Like
Okay.
it's a British movie. They all have like British accents, or a lot of them do. But yeah, a lot of them have British accents, and there wasn't really anybody I recognized except for the one guy I kind of recognize. It's not a huge cast. There's only like 8 of them because they're all at this house for the whole movie. And I have not had a movie scare me this much since like Hereditary, which we talked about last week again.
Yes.
But it was creepy. It's a mix between like The Omen and The Birds. Like, there's a scene at the end that's haunting. There's a lot of scenes in this that I will never forget. I gave it 4.5 stars. I absolutely love this movie. There's some silliness, and I think if people want to pick it apart, it's very easy to pick apart. And
So are the kids turning into zombies, or are there
so they're
other
not
zombies?
they're not turning into zombies essentially, but like that's the closest thing I can think, like, equate it to. They essentially for no reason just start wanting to kill everyone
Hmm.
except for each other. So it's like they're kind of like a zombie horde almost.
Okay.
Um and you don't really, it's basically just because like one kid starts coughing, and then it's kind of a weird scene, but she's coughing, and then she coughs up a little bit of phlegm on like a pillow, and then the camera just zooms in on the phlegm, and
Oh,
all these,
awesome.
and yeah, and then it goes into like, it shows all these like parasites and evolving and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, so there's a reason for the zoom in, not just
Yeah, exactly. it's
zoom in
it's
on this.
yeah, it's showing you like why it happens. And Um, there's a really creepy subplot that has a very satisfying ending with a kind of creepy uncle vibe that has a very satisfying ending if you are a horror fan and you like gory violence. And this is one of those movies where you are covering your eyes because you can't watch. There are broken limbs and bones sticking out. There's scalping. There's if
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So if you're a horror fan, give this one a shot. And perfect because it takes place at Christmas time, right before New Year's. It's perfect Christmas Day watch.
Oh, isn't this nice? There's a
Yeah.
hand inside my stocking. It's not attached to anything.
It's not attached to anything. And the kids were great too. There's a couple kids in there that just really great acting. Like,
All right.
but
Where do I find this?
it says watch on AMC Plus with your subscription now. So I don't,
Ah,
but I guess I should have had that written down. Where did you, oh, I know where you watch Burn After Reading and Bullet Train, Netflix and HBO Max.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, look at me. I know what
Almost
you
like you know who I am.
I know what you Americans do.
Starting to figure me out.
In Canada, we can watch The Children on Shutter. So, yes. Okay. So, we've talked about that. So, you are going to talk about a movie I have
Ugh.
never heard of in my entire life.
Yeah, me either.
And you texted me and said, "Hey, I know we're like it was like yesterday or something. You said I also want to discuss this movie,
Yes.
and apparently it fucking came out last year or
Yes.
this year.
2021.
Yeah. So
Amy.
take it away.
All right. This is a movie directed by Amy Koppelman.
Mm-hmm.
It is called A Mouthful of Air,
Mm-hmm.
and it stars Amanda Seyfried. Is that how you say that?
Yep.
Seyfried? Uh,
Seafood, I think.
Finn Wittrock.
Okay.
Wittrock. Never heard of him. Britt Robertson and
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Carpenter.
I love Jennifer Carpenter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Have you seen
she's one of those
Dexter?
people. Huh?
Have you seen Dexter?
I have not, but my mother and my daughter rave over it.
Yeah.
Um, she's one of those people that you see her and you go, "Oh, that's that girl from that thing," that kind of thing.
She and the one of the best on-screen criers I've ever seen. She can make it look like she's crying or can cry at the drop of a hat. So she's in the later seasons of Dexter, she's just crying all the time. Um, anyways, I'll let you go.
Yeah,
What
that's
is a
fine.
mouthful of air about?
A mouthful of air. So I regularly peruse my cable system
Mm-hmm.
and I look for. I have several. I have Stars. I have Cinemax and Epics, and I always go a couple days ahead and see what's coming up. But
Mm-hmm.
I seem to do this at least once a day because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
And I see this Mouthful of Air, and I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. So I click on the description, and the description reads, "A dark secret comes to the fore when a best-selling author has her second child." So I'm thinking, wow, that sounds like it might be suspenseful. It might. I got to see what this dark secret is. Yeah. So I sit down and start watching this, and there's not really a dark secret. So I start looking around in other places in IMDb and on Letterbox. Here's the description from Letterbox. Julie is a new mom and children's book author who escapes into the bright Crayola colored world of her creation in order to leave behind the darkness caused by her postpartum depression. Now, I know postpartum is a major thing. I think we should know everyone or know someone that has gone through it
Mm-hmm.
in real life.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily a movie that I want to watch.
No, and
Um,
I've seen two movies this year that have some of it in, like a little bit. She said, and oh, I just had it. Another one. And last year I watched a whole movie about it and um, did not love it. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, this one was. I, I had to look back and go, "Is this the same movie?" And I looked at I read the description again, and I'm like, "There." It's one of those movies where, and I had mentioned this to you before, you think it's one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a completely something different when you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
By halfway through, I'm like, I should really just turn this off. This is like a complete downer. I understand that the message is real, and maybe there's more to this than I already know because I've had several people in my life that go through this, and
Yeah, me too.
and her husband is this Flint Rock. What's his name? Witch Rock. Flint
Flint
Rock. Whatever.
Rock.
Yeah. He
Fraggle
is.
Rock.
Yeah. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's very patient with her,
Mm-hmm.
but he has his times where he kind of gets snarky with her, and she doesn't know how to handle that sometimes. And I
Mm.
mean, it's understandable. It's she's going through something that
That
either
us
men
men will
have
never
no,
understand, I
no,
guess.
no,
Yeah.
we'll never know, we'll never realize.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a complete downer. But
It's probably why nobody is talking about it, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it does have a very uh, both scores were in the 80s
Yeah.
on Rotten Tomatoes
Okay.
for critics and people, and I was like,
It's
oh, well, I mean that's on
mm,
my cable when it brings up the description, it also has the Rotten Tomatoes scores next to it.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and
I think your cable's lying to you because
yeah,
on Rotten Tomatoes it says 68%
oh, for what critics?
for critics.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Is it in the 80s for
it actually
folks?
won't let me click on it. Every time I click Rotten Tomatoes, it says maintenance in progress.
Yeah, they're going through something. It sends me to yeah, 68% and then 80% on uh for people.
So 80% for the audience?
Yes, for audience score it's 80%.
That's weird.
And I thought and then gross box office is $247,000. So I don't even know. This was released in October of 2021. I never saw it.
Yeah,
I never
I
heard
was
of
just
it.
checking the date because I didn't know maybe it was a this year release and it had its like premiere at a festival last year. So maybe I thought like it was just coming out, but no, it kind of came and went last year and apparently.
Yeah, I don't want to say something harsh, but I mean I would avoid this movie if I mean
Yeah.
I gave it 3 stars because I understand
Yeah.
what it was about and what it was meant to be. But I was just thrown off by the description, and I think that I wouldn't have wanted what it was actually about.
The featured review from user reviews, and there's only 32 on IMDb, but the
Mm.
featured review, the title is Depressing with Little Reward.
That
So,
is entirely accurate.
yeah. So, the last movie we're going to discuss is a new Netflix movie, Pinocchio from 2022. Guillermo del Toro's Guillermo. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that one too. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, with the voice talents of Ewan McGregor as Mr. Jiminy Cricket, but Jiminy is never said, so I wonder if that's a Disney trademark. It's something J Cricket. I can't remember now.
Jiminy J Cricket. If they stick the J in there, they won't get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. They put the J in, and it's like so. It's and then David Bradley, uh, Ron Perlman, John Turturro, Finn Wolfhard, Kate Blanchett. I love hearing her voice. I love her so much. Tim Blake Nelson, Christoph Waltz has and then Tilda Swinton. All the people who we know from Del Toro's work, mostly. Um, the kid voicing Pinocchio was really great. Gregory Mann, he was really good too. I love this movie. It's all like claymation, kind of like it's in the same vein as something like Coraline or Corpse Bride or something like that. And it's definitely not your typical. Excuse me. It's definitely not your typical Pinocchio story. It's very dark. Um, it starts off with it's interesting because we always see this old man, Geppetto, right, who wants to he wants a son, right?
Right?
Well, why I guess I've never thought like why
Why?
doesn't he have a son? Like, blah blah. Well, the movie starts off with his son basically his son dies. Like there's a whole first act about
Uh,
the son dying, which is like really depressing and really hard to watch. And it's like it's interesting and there's a lot of like mythical and magic, and then near the end there's a lot of humor and heart. And I ended up really loving this movie. I really enjoyed it. The voice work is great. It looks beautiful. There's a little too much of Christoph Waltz's character. He plays a character named Count Volp, who is basically when Pinocchio runs off to the circus, he's the person who is running the circus and kind of duping poor Pinocchio. And there's a lot of him, and a little too much. Like the story goes on forever, and then there's a like an evil monkey who.
Does it live in Chris Griffin's closet?
Good reference. I love that. No, not this one. But it looks even scarier than that one. It's like got like a half, like an eye that like won't open all the way. It looks like it's just been beat up. It's got like sharp teeth, and but by the end it's all really great, and it's I love it. I haven't seen it's interesting because I was discussing what they call twin films, and it's when a movie, like two movies that are very similar, come out the same year. And now we've had two Pinocchio films this year, one from Disney and one from Del Toro. So I just think it's really interesting. And if you're going to put your money on one of them, I would pick this one, even though I haven't seen the Disney one. But I've seen it when Disney originally did it, and
Yeah, way back in the 60s, maybe?
yeah, I've seen that version several times. But
Sure.
so I think that's it for movies we're going to discuss, right?
Yeah, that's all I got. Yep.
All right, that's all he's got. So, and I don't have a ton to tell everyone about streaming. Tomorrow or today, as you listen to this, because I'm going to start posting every Wednesday. So today, National Treasure: The Edge of History Season 1 drops on Disney Plus. The Game Season 2, Dance Monsters is going to be on Netflix. So, and then for people who like the show Emily in Paris, it's actually supposed to be pronounced, I found out, Emily in Paris, so it rhymes. But season 3 of that drops on Netflix December 21st, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. So I will give it its time on our, even though you couldn't pay me to sit down and watch that show.
Because it's pronounced Perry.
That irritates me even more.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about the first season when it first came out on Netflix. It was like Emily in Paris, and then now I'm talking way too much about it, but thanks, Steve. But the creator came out and said, well, it's supposed to be Emily in Paris because it rhymes and that's how they say it in France. And I'm like, that pisses me off.
Because that makes that much of a difference.
Exactly, Steve. So the only thing we have left to do is I'm gonna pick my next assigned movie, assigned from a friend or a listener, hopefully both. And I had my longtime friend Matt Volz. I've never asked him if he's German, but now that I say it out loud, that sounds like a German name. He picked number 649. So I like to do this on air.
Yeah, that's fine. That'd be good.
Ooh. 1999's Boys Don't Cry.
Okay.
So that's a Hilary Swank number. So what's today? 2022, 12, 13. That's good. I've been wanting to watch that for quite a while. I've heard really good things. So I will be watching that. Steve will be watching whatever comes up on cable.
I will join you with Boys Don't Cry.
Okay.
As long as I can get it.
Okay.
Ooh, Chloe Sevigny. Ooh.
Yo, you're a fan,
right. Yes, of her.
Of her of her acting talent. It doesn't sound like you're a fan. It doesn't sound like you're a fan of her acting talent, Steve.
Sure. She was great in Brown Bunny.
I've never even heard of Brown Bunny.
Really?
Is that one I have to watch?
No, it's a terrible movie, but she's got a very
Oh.
graphic sex scene at the end.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
All right.
okay.
So Boys Don't Cry is a young man named Brandon Tina
Mm-hmm.
navigates love, life, and being transgender in rural Nebraska.
Rural Nebraska. You ever been to Nebraska?
I have not.
Hmm.
I did love the movie Nebraska.
I did love that movie as well.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do, you have to go to Nebraska and as
Great. Is that my punishment for something?
field research and um, get back to me on that. Okay.
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 Let me see
Perfect.
if I can crowbar that into my weekend.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Until next Wednesday, that is Mitch and Steve. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You can find me at the Hollywood Persona on Facebook and Instagram, and at Mitchy Daily on Twitter and Letterboxd. I think I'm also the Hollywood Persona on Letterboxd if you want to find me that way as well. And listen to the Film Vault. I kind of work for those guys over there, and they're the ones who got me into podcasting. I don't know if I said that last episode, but Steve and I are both listeners of Anderson and Brian over at the Film Vault. So give them a listen. And Steve you can find Steve at
I am at Lion Around 44 on Twitter.
mhm.
Um,
He is
also
on
Rice.
Letterboxd.
Yep, Ricecrop 44 on Letterbox.
I love that
And
rice crop. That's
yeah,
your
that comes from well, my last name is Rice, and
yes.
on the basement door when I was a kid, there was a picture of my dad with me and my brother. It was like an old timey picture, like a 1973 picture, and below it he wrote the rice crop.
Oh my gosh, because
So
you were his crop.
yes,
Okay.
I stole it from him. So
I love it. I love it.
you can also catch me on the Grass is Blue podcast, and we're on all major outlets, and we
Have
have
you
our own Facebook page.
when was the last episode you posted?
I just finished editing
Yes.
our last episode, and it will be posted tomorrow morning.
Okay, perfect. So both these episodes will go out tomorrow. So that's exciting. Go listen to the Grass is Blue podcast. I'm excited to listen to the new one tomorrow. And anyways, so that is it. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you next week.
All right, see you.
Okay. How do I end the recording?